want to talk about movies? I know a guy.
Welcome to Film Snob Reviews, the podcast. And now your host, the film snob himself, Will.
Welcome to the first edition of Film Snob Reviews podcast here on our website. And we don't have a name yet, but you can help us out with that. Anywhere you follow us, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, give us a follow. You can have a chance to rename this podcast whatever the hell you feel like naming it. Right now with me today, I have our wonderful writer from the UK, Lee. Say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Alrighty, and with me as well, I have Simon. Simon, give everybody a what's up.
Hey.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about several different things. We've got a couple of different topics we're going to be discussing. Primarily, we're going to be talking about some way too early Oscar buzz, as well as suggesting to you guys some films that you can stream right now on various streaming services. Let's get right into it, guys. Let's first discuss our films that are streaming on various locations around the internet, okay? All right. So first up, what we have on Netflix is a movie called Christine, and I think we discussed it. Neither of you guys had seen this one, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So let me give them a bit of backstory, and you guys tell me what you think of the movie, even though you don't know, you haven't seen it. It doesn't make you want to watch it. Maybe you don't, maybe you do. This movie is about a news reporter from Florida in the 1970s named Christine Chubbuck, whose murder was broadcast. I'm sorry, not murder, but her suicide was broadcast live in front of the whole, city that got to see it. The footage no longer is available for viewing and is locked up someplace. What about this, guys? It's Rebecca Hall. Does this sound like something you guys would be interested in seeing?
Yeah, I'd see it.
Definitely, yeah. I think it sounds interesting, because I think what I was saying to you before was I wasn't really familiar with the story beforehand. Mm-hmm. So I think it'd be quite interesting. Yeah.
Good, yeah. I think it's got an interesting look. Also, I'm really interested to see what you guys think. And here's what I would do: is if anybody's listening in out there, and you guys do watch it, let me know what you think of it. Because honestly, I think it's quite polarizing when you realize the reality of Christine's world and what made her do what she did. Honestly, there's no real point in saying anything about the ending because we all know how it ends. Now, for right. Not exactly a spoiler. For Hulu, we're going to discuss a great Oscar-nominated film called Up in the Air. And now, if I recall, Lee, you've seen this one, right?
Yeah, I have. I have seen it quite a while back now. But yeah, I've seen it, and I remember really enjoying it. I think George Clooney was really well suited to the role, and I think that the shift in that it goes in from kind of this, this really rude, obnoxious, firing people, to then becomes more sympathetic towards people. And I think it's quite a good, it's a good film.
So to fill in the audience, basically George Clooney's whole job is to go into companies that hire him to fire people, and he lets them go when the company doesn't have the balls to do it themselves. He's very, very continental, and he travels a lot. Once he meets Vera Farmiga's character, who's a businesswoman in her own right, he starts to soften ever so slightly. And I think that there's a lot of Jason Reitman, who directed this, in this film. If you've ever seen any of his other projects, Juno, I think he also directed that movie with Charlize Theron, A Young Adult, which is great. I definitely see a lot of him in this film. Anna Kendrick, I think, received a Best Supporting Actress nomination for this movie as well. People don't realize that.
I don't know.
Yeah. Now, so Simon, you haven't seen this, correct?
No, I haven't.
Now, does this make you want to run out and go check this out on Hulu?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't have any time to watch it.
Of course, because we're putting you through the ringer, right? We make you do so much work.
Definitely.
We're working his young butt. We're gonna keep working him until he stops working too hard. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I have a couple things I need to send you. Now our third pick is from Amazon Prime. This is available to U.S. Amazon Prime subscribers. It's a wonderful film which got Viggo Mortensen another Oscar nomination, and it's Captain Fantastic. Simon, you've seen this one, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Seen it a couple times.
Now, from what you said, tell the people what you thought of the film.
I thought it was really good. It was pretty fast paced. it was entertaining, and it was sort of like emotional at points, but like it wasn't too like sappy and emotional. It was just like that right amount that it needed, and I thought the acting was pretty good overall.
I agree. It doesn't get too saccharine, which is often an issue with family dramas in this, more contemporary audience. What I really liked about this was that not only was Vigo absolutely outstanding, but Frank Langella as the grandfather was just, he starts out so despicable, but his arc in the short time we're with him is so well fleshed out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Now, is this a movie you would recommend that all of the people out there check out?
Yeah, I'd recommend it.
Yeah, good. I like to hear that. And so, Lee, is this one that sounds like you want to have people come out and check it out?
Yeah, definitely. I was just thinking then about, you mentioned Frank Langella. I thought he was brilliant in Frost Nixon. And also, have you seen The Box?
Yeah, he's the best part of that really bad movie.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? But I thought he was really, really good.
Yeah, he's really good in that, and you're right about him being really good in Frost Nixon. He is excellent at
Super.
and Michael Sheen working against him is absolutely stellar.
Yeah. So yeah, I think because you see, from the title, I just assumed it was kind of more of a sort of a sci-fi fantasy kind of film, but
right.
from what Simon said, I think it sounds quite appealing actually. So
yeah, it's a very, very good film. And lastly, we would like to take this moment to recommend a film from Tubi TV. Those guys are doing a great job with their free streaming service. If you don't mind sitting through a couple of commercials every 45 minutes into the film, Tubi TV is a great service for you to check out. They've got tons of free movies on there, and one of the choices that you can watch right now by downloading the app to any of your smart devices is a wonderful film called The Skeleton Twins. And if I'm correct, you've both seen this one, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay, that's awesome, because now I get to tell you about it. Bill Hader, Kristen Wiig play twins who have a lot of family drama, whether it stems from Kristen being unhappy in her marriage to Luke Wilson or Bill Hader dealing with the fact that he's gay. These family issues tend to bubble up to the surface up to a certain point, and it's that point where the movie starts and propels us forward. As far as the average fare from these two, I mean, what do you guys know Kristen Wiig from?
I've seen her in a couple movies, but I can't really remember which ones though.
Right, Lee.
Struggling myself, to be honest. Come back to me in 5 minutes.
Right, so just to give a refresher, she's more known for her comedy chops like Bridesmaids. She's in last year's Ghostbusters. But she's also got quite a few films in her arsenal where she does more dramatic work, and this is an example of her doing that. I believe she was also in Mother, which just came out, which surprised the hell out of me, that she was in that movie. I just saw it myself. Our review will be up sometime later this week when I decide to actually get off my butt and do it. Right. You should. It's actually quite fantastic, and that's my 2 cents on it. Did you see that, Simon? You haven't seen Mother yet?
No, yeah, I really want to though, but I don't have a lot of time to go to the theater.
I hear you.
I haven't been in 4 months.
I hear you. I'm currently watching 30 movies on my computer. Thank you, Fantastic Fest, for sending me those. But I went. My birthday was the other day. I went to the theater and saw 2 movies on my birthday. It was quite nice.
Fantastic.
Yes, I'm an old fart now. And they were both good movies. That's what's awesome. I won't spoil what they were because our reviews will be up for those soon. But it's always a good time when you can see that now. Okay, so here's what's going on. October is kind of a weird month because it's mostly just horror releases with October a lot of the time. And October, there's a movie coming out called Jigsaw. Are you two familiar with that?
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Okay.
It's a Saw franchise, is it?
It is the Saw franchise getting a soft sort of reboot sequel thing that's going on. That's our movie of the month for October, and so we're gonna discuss it right now. You guys like the Saw franchise? You guys horror movie fans?
I love. Sorry, Simon, go on.
All right, thanks. I've watched horror movies mostly because my brother sort of makes me since he likes horror movies. But I mean, I'll watch them, but I'm not exactly fond of them. But for the Saw franchise, I've seen 1 or 2, but I don't remember them being very good though.
Alrighty.
Sorry.
No, by all means, continue, Lee. Give us your perspective on this.
For me, I think horror is probably one of my favourite genres.
Oh,
I think that when it's done well, superb. I mean, obviously, I know there's a lot of nonsense, but horror for me is the most interesting ideas and angles and sort of visions, if you like. In terms of Jigsaw, I probably will get around to watching it at some stage. In terms of the Saw films, I remember watching the first one, thinking at the time, this it felt really different, something fresh. But then, when it got to 3, 4, 5, it became a bit tiresome. And my hopes for this Jigsaw film aren't great, but I probably will watch it at some stage.
So I totally agree with you on the Saw franchise. The first 2 films are quite good, but most of the ancillary sequels are nothing to write home about. But I would say I'm not a horror. I'm in the same boat with Simon. I actually really don't like horror films. I feel a lot of them are tropey and they rest on their laurels too much.
Well, did you both see the Babadook?
Right, but
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I saw it. It's not really a horror film, though, when you think about it. It's actually more of a psychological thriller.
I'd class it as horror, that's all. For me, horror, it's you get all the gore, etc. It's not about horror. For me, it's not that. Horror is about the uncanny, what you can't see. That kind of thing when you're a child. When you're in bed when you're 5-year-old and the way the shadows seem to transform into like a figure of some sort. It's kind of the uncanny about your mind playing tricks on you. And I thought the Babadook, with its colour schemes and direction, I thought it tied all those aspects up together really neatly. And I thought it was really, really, really enjoyed that movie.
I agree, but my girlfriend, she's a huge horror movie fan. She saw it the first time and didn't like it. Then I gave her a little perspective on what I thought of the film. We rewatched it, and she agreed with me that it's brilliant. It's not a horror movie, because the Babadook is more of a fugazi. He's not a real villain. He's not a thing. He's a manifestation of Essie Davis's post-traumatic stress, her depression, and her unwillingness to get over the fact that she is now a widow. He's not really this thing that exists. It's a manifestation in her brain of all these things.
In a similar way, then, you could say the same thing about Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh no!
The way that he's manifested in their dreams.
Right, but we know that Freddy Krueger is a real person. He's a child molester who got burned to death inside of a building. We know that he's a real person, right? That's his backstory. The Babadook's backstory is he just shows up at your house.
Yeah, it's on the borderline, I think.
Yeah. But do you see? But and that's the thing. I think it's actually more real life horror. These are the horrors of every day. These are things people deal with on a daily basis that are horrifying. Whether it's depression, whether it's the death of a loved one, whether it's serious mental illness. These are the real and true horrors of life, and I think that's what the Babadook deals with more than anything. But you're right about the direction. Jennifer Kent is absolutely brilliant, isn't she?
Yeah. Oh, really good. Really good. I might watch it again.
Yeah.
Really good.
So as far as Saw goes, you guys have said you're not very, fond of it. So I will ask, since it is October, Simon, we'll start with you. What's your favorite horror movie for the people out there?
I can't really think about it right now, but I'd probably say Zombieland or something. That was pretty good.
You know what? I'm going to count that. It's more of a horror comedy, but it still counts.
All right.
It still counts. What about you, Lee?
Without doubt, it's Possession from 1981.
Oh, that's a good one.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic! It's so rare that I get to speak to someone that's actually seen it.
Yeah.
It's Andrzej Zulawski. I read when I watched it. I was reading about the film. I read actually after seeing the film. Around the time of the filming, he was going through a messy divorce, and on reflection, I think it obviously shows in the film. But I thought Isabella Gianni, it's the best performance from a female I don't think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think Sam Neill's really good in it too.
Yeah, he is, but Isabella Gianni is just that particular scene when she kind of loses herself. In the underground. That scene.
I agree. Now, for people who haven't seen this, he's talking about 1983's Possession, The Night the Screaming Stopped, which is the subtitle for that film, because there are several films called Possession. This is a great movie. And see, Lee, you don't have Instagram, or else you would know this. We actually had we do a thing every Friday called 5 Films Friday, where we pick 5 films based on one of the films coming out, right? About a year ago, we talked about this. We talked about Possession. It's a great film. I totally agree. And for everybody else wondering out there that didn't see my appearance on Lolo Loves Films, wonderful Me a Cinephile podcast last night, my favorite horror movies, I have 2. They're tied equally, and they will never be untied. Are The Fly from Cronenberg and The Thing, which is John Carpenter. I am a huge fan of 80s horror, but I don't like slasher films. So there's a huge difference there. I don't like slasher films, but I love 80s horror. So, and particularly...
2 excellent choices there.
Yeah, thank you. Particularly, I love Cronenberg because I love his body horror, like Videodrome. I love what he does with that stuff. He's just so weird. And I'm more for that than I am your Freddy's, your Jasons. I'm not huge into the slasher genre.
What do you think about The Exorcist?
The Exorcist is brilliant. It's no longer a horror movie. Now it's just a great movie.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, Friedkin is a great director, and that movie subverts its own genre and just become a classic of film in general.
Yeah. Oh.
That's what I think. Now we're going to do, Lee, you had a couple points that you wanted to talk over, and I think now is the perfect time to do this. So give me, of the films that you've reviewed, give me your favorite review or your favorite review, whether it was a good movie or a bad movie that you did over the last month or so.
Let me just bear with me.
Yeah, you know what I'll do? I'll have Simon go first.
Sorry. Yeah.
No problem. Simon, give me your favorite review that you've written, and give me the reason why and what you thought of the movie so that people can hear about it.
Does the movie have to be from the website or my Instagram?
You know what? I would prefer you to use one that people can reference back to here.
All right. Let me think.
Because you got quite a few on there.
Yeah. Oh, crap.
I can go first if you wish. I'm ready now.
By all means.
Take a look.
Yeah, by all means, go right ahead.
Okay. So, do you want the best one?
No, I want your favorite review of the last month or so.
From me?
Yeah, that you wrote.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it would have to be the first one that I reviewed. A film called Their Finest by Lauren Scherfig. It's a one, I don't know if you recall, but it's a one with Gemma Arterton and Bill Nye. I thought it was superb. Basically, it's set in London during the Blitz, and it's about script writers. And around that time, what the UK film industry were doing were making films to inspire people around the country. Obviously, the country was getting bombed to pieces every day, and these were making the script writers were making propaganda films to keep up morale, basically. It's very English in its outlook, but I thought it was superb. Gemma Arterton, she kind of plays like a rookie screenwriter, and what she finds is that she finds overt sexism in the workplace. There's one part where they refer to, I can't remember what it says now. I think they refer to as just basically writing, the claptrap, and essentially she's drafted in just to kind of write. Oh yeah, that's the term. They say you've just been drafted in to write a slop, which is a derogatory term used by the main lead to describe female dialogue. but after time, she eventually wins people around, and there's a bit of romance in it. But it's just a really good, feel good film. And Bill Nye, just excellent in this. Really enjoyed it.
So I actually went and saw the movie after your review, and yeah, sadly it's the second best movie about Dunkirk this year, but it's still a great piece of cinema, honestly.
Oh, good.
Now,
so I would definitely say that's my that's the best one I've seen so far that I reviewed.
Now I'll go into that in a minute, but I did like your review of that. Now, Simon, how are we looking over there?
Yeah, I think I found one. Probably my review for Antimatter. I really enjoyed the movie because I thought it was a good science fiction one, and it didn't have a lot of the typical sci-fi mystery tropes, and it was kind of thought-provoking, and the acting was pretty good from the main cast.
Yeah, thank you for that review, by the way. They loved your review, and it's actually, I didn't tell you this, Simon, and you don't know this, but for the month of September, it is our most viewed review. So congratulations on that, Simon. Yes. People are loving that review. Yeah, people are loving it.
Well done, Sam.
Nice.
Yes, and also Yaisa Figueroa loved it as well. She told me.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, she told me she loved it. So yeah, thanks for writing that up. Also, you're welcome for sending that to you because that was one I was going to watch, but I sent it to you instead.
Thanks.
What about you, Will? What was your...
I have so many that I wrote, but I would say the one I just did a few days ago for Band-Aid because I loved this movie so damn much. To give people insight into Band-Aid, it's written and directed by Zoe Lister-Jones. She stars in the movie as a woman who's an Uber driver and failed author. She's married to her husband, who's an artist, played by Adam Paley. Basically, they argue a lot, and they don't have a lot of, I can say whatever I want. It's my podcast. They don't have a lot of sex because their relationship is pretty dead. But they notice that when through their fighting, when they start to fight, they start playing music and making songs out of their fights. And one of the big things they fight over is that Adam Pelly's character never wants to wash the dishes, so they call themselves the Dirty Dishes. And they notice that making music with each other is almost therapeutic. I love the relationship dynamic between the two, and I love the film's overall message of hope for even the darkest of days with your significant other. I love this movie, and I recommend everyone go see it immediately if you have not done it yet. It's available in the U.S. right now on VOD. It should be on Blu-ray soon. But yeah, that's my favorite review just because I just had so much fun writing it because I remember seeing the movie and just being in awe of this thing. Yeah, so you guys should definitely check it out. Now, this next topic we're going to talk about, I think it's a really interesting thing that we should to start, with our first podcast on, and I'll go over it with Simon first. Now, how do you consume films? Now, what way do you watch your movies typically?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. I usually just it really depends on the type of movie that I watch. Like, if it's like a dumb comedy like Baywatch, I won't take it in for really seriously. I'll take it in as how much I laughed during it, if I actually entertained or I actually laughed during it, like I said. But if it's like an action movie, it's just really for entertainment. But if it's like a thought-provoking one, if it actually makes me think about the film, or if it doesn't, or if it just doesn't do anything and it's boring. But usually, I'm pretty casual with consuming it. I don't move. I try to stay in one spot, but I have a lot going around on my house, so usually I can get distracted from the movies easily.
That's not what we wanted to hear, Simon.
Really?
No, that's not. That's a good answer. That's perfect, man. Thank you for telling me absolutely how you watch them, because now I kind of get a sense of where you're coming from when you look at the films. I understand your perspective a little bit more. So, Lee, how do you watch your films typically?
I think it has changed a lot over the years. Now the sort of the world we live in now is it's much more faster. Everything is on demand. Everything's on the go. People lead busy lives. But for me, it really varies. Similar to what Simon was saying, I do try and give films a chance, whether I know it's going to be terrible or not. I just try and watch it the same way. And in terms of the way I consume them, I don't actually go to the cinema as much as I would like to. It's more about, streaming it online, Netflix, the BBC iPlayer. Because, when you're younger, you want to watch it now. Whereas now, I can easily wait a few weeks for it to come out, on a streaming website or something. So, I think the landscape of watching films has changed massively over the years. I think I was reading recently about a report about the revenue which has been pulled into cinemas these days. It's much lower than, I think it goes back to 2010. It seems to be on a decrease, which is it's bad because you can't really beat the cinema. But at the same time, when you go to theatres, I'm not sure what it's like in the US, but in England, the prices are just huge. You know, you sit next to someone who's eating hot dog and popcorn. It's just, you can't escape. The only chance you can get to escape is being on your own in your own living room.
Now,
you know,
yeah,
it's changed over the years for me, I think.
I like your perspective on that. However, I will disagree with you slightly. So typically I do go to the theater to see some of my movies. It really depends on, the property, of course, and what the movie is. I get a lot of stuff sent to me too. So it's like, what do I want to go out there. Prices are not as bad here in Las Vegas as they are in some of the other parts of the country. It's only $10. And on Tuesdays, it's only $5 to go to the movies. And here in the U.S., we have Movie Pass, $9.95 a month. You can see all the movies you want, one movie every 24 hours. So I think that cinema in the way that it was before is definitely in trouble. What with on demand and video on demand and all that stuff. However, I think that if they change their dynamic and what they do, they'll be just fine. They'll continue to thrive because no one wants to see a giant Marvel film on their phone.
Yeah, that's true. It depends on the film, like you say. I think just one, if I can just interject a second. You were saying then about the way cinema's changed. I think what was interesting, what year did Inception come out?
2010.
2010. I remember thinking around that time that, and even now to a lesser extent, but cinema was sort of dumbing down a little bit. There was all these Batman and blockbusters, and okay, they're fine, Spider-Man, etc. But there's nothing showing really interesting. And I think what was interesting at the time, Christopher Nolan's Inception showed that actually the audience actually don't mind to be tested. And the viewing figures on that film are quite give us hope in a way, because it showed that people don't need dumbing down. They actually want to be tested, and on a Friday night you want to go out and you want to be challenged, and you want to think about it. You want to discuss it afterwards with your friends, and I still think it happens again to some extent. I mean, where I live, I've got there's the main multiplexes which show the general releases, but I prefer to go to this museum where they're showing independent cinema, world cinema from all over the world. And I think those films, even if it sounds quite arty and quite pretentious, it's just that they show films with much more of a interesting plot and just interesting subjects. Not the usual Friday night thriller, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I totally understand what you're saying. And you know what? This isn't on our docket, but I want to talk about this, and I'm going to have Simon start it. Give me a film that you've seen this year that superseded your expectations because it challenged you as a viewer. What's a good film for people to check out if they want to be intellectually or spiritually or, existentially challenged?
All right, so I'd probably say a movie that did something like that to me. I'd say it would be T2 Trainspotting, because I personally think the original is probably my favorite movie of all time, and I just really like the second one. But it was pretty emotional. But I don't know any films that would really affect me in that sort of way, spiritually and all that.
Mm-hmm. And that's perfectly understandable and totally fine. But I agree with you. T2 Trainspotting is amazing. It's amazing. Good choice, man.
Yeah.
Now, Lee, let me hear a little bit. Give me a film that you've seen that challenged you, that you've recently partaken.
So many. Some films just cut you up, don't they? Emotionally.
Yeah, they do.
Mentally. It's just amazing. That's why I love cinema. The one that's not recent is relatively recent in terms of me watching it, but I would probably say, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's an 80s film, unfortunately. It's My Dinner with Andre.
Oh yeah, that's a great film. Wallace Shawn's in that, and it's just basically what people sound like when they have conversations.
Yeah, it's just two men in a cafe talking, essentially.
Yeah.
But it's the way that it sounds quite dull, but when you watch it, it's actually really interesting. They cover just the nature of life, just basically spiritual experiences and what is life and all these questions, and it goes to show you don't need glamour and glitz. You don't need a £400 million budget. Sometimes just two people sat at a table can be just as interesting and as entertaining as Spider-Man, for example.
No, I totally get what you're saying.
I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, I think there's some points there that you make. I'm going to pick a film from this year. I'm going to pick a romantic comedy from this year, and you won't believe this. It's called The Other Half. It's got Tatiana Maslany in it, and of course we all know Tatiana Maslany from her Orphan Black days. She's in the movie. She's in the television show Orphan Black. She's a great actress. In this, but our lead character is played by Tom Cullen. Are we all familiar with Tom Cullen? He's a Welsh actor.
No, I haven't seen him in anything.
Okay.
I probably don't know.
Yeah, he's a Welsh actor. He's been in things like The Weeknd. He does a lot of independent cinema. He's a great actor. He plays a man who recently, or is still dealing with the death of his younger brother. It makes him sort of self-destructive, and it gives him anger issues. He meets this woman named Emily, who he, is completely infatuated with. He doesn't know why. But he doesn't know her dark secret, and her dark secret is that she's bipolar. So now we have a self-destructive drifter and a woman with bipolar disease in a relationship, and how they have to navigate each other's shortcomings. And the film, in the ending particularly, just rips your heart out, shows it to you, spits it out, tapes it back up, and puts it back in your chest. It's so
sounds good. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's one of my favorite films that's come out this year that no one has seen. And so anytime I get a chance to talk about a film that is going to tear you apart, I like to mention this one because I think that it deserves more of an audience than it got. Definitely check that one out. Everyone who's actually going to listen to this, check it out. And by the way, if you're not following us on Twitter and Instagram, it is at FilmSnobReviews. You can also catch us on Facebook, like us there, where it's just Film Snob Reviews, all that stuff. It's one word, so squish it together, do what you got to do. Follow us on there. We put some good stuff together. These gentlemen I'm talking to are working very hard to bring you the best in cinema and opinions. Now, Lee, you had one other point here that I thought was really good, and we're going to go into that now, and I'm going to have Simon start, so be ready. How does your viewing experience differ when you're reviewing a film, just for fun, or when you're actually viewing it to, review it?
For me, when you send me a film, so I review it for the website, but I take it a lot more seriously. If it's like a horror movie or a comedy or a suspense, I take it a lot more seriously because I'm writing it for other people to see. But if I'm just watching it casually, I'll take it very easily. I'll probably look at my phone a couple times, but I won't be super serious about it. But with the website reviews, I'm way more serious with those.
Yeah, I like it. I like to hear that. That's what I like to hear, Simon. He's taking his job seriously. He's a good man. Now, Lee, what about yourself, man?
Same with Simon, really. The way I watch film, if I'm reviewing it or not, it's still the same. I tend to be more serious. I tend to stick with it. I don't get interrupted. I make sure I don't turn my phone off. I'm not that sad. I am at home after all. But the way it differs, I think, is I tend to have a notebook next to me, and for me, because I write anyway, I love dialogue and I love the written word. So you've probably seen in some reviews, I'll take snapshots of a certain line that makes me laugh or something. So I think it's more about when you're going to be reviewing a film for a particular audience. I think it's important to basically to be more to listen more actively to the film. If that makes sense, and watch it more interactively. If that even makes any sense. I know what I mean in my mind, but it's basically to be less passive when you're watching something. That's the way I would kind of compare them, really. Yeah,
I get you. I get what you're saying there. It's you're more attentive to what you're looking at. You open your ears, you open your eyes a little bit more. You let the film kind of wash over you because that's what I do. When I go into a film I'm going to review, I'm going to let the whole thing wash over me so I can get a genuine reaction out of myself. I think that genuine reaction and that reality is what makes what we do on our page so much more intimate for our audience reading it. And I'll agree with you. We all speak English, and I think English is one of the clumsier languages that exists. But we do what we can with our clumsy language, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a question for you both, actually. It's not on the notes, but when you both watch the film, do you tend to review it almost instantly, or do you let it sink in for a day, or how do you manage that?
Oh, for me,
Yeah.
if I get a review for like the website, I try to like write it right after I finish it, so it's still fresh in my mind, and I don't take like weeks to like write it. But if I watch like a movie on my phone or on my TV, and I have to review it for the website, I might take a little bit longer because I have school and I have homework, and my life is kind of busy. So, mostly I write them like almost instantly after.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm the same, really. I make notes.
I'm gonna pull the curtain back on this one for you guys. I'm gonna pull the curtain back. I usually have 5 or 6 reviews at one time in drafts, so I will put I'll put a header on there to remind myself that I need to do that, but I won't actually fill any content in for literally 3 or 4 days while I'm catching up. It really helps. Trust me when I tell you guys, it really helps to just think on some movies, to think on what you just experienced. I'm so glad I didn't write a Mother review immediately after going out of the theater, because then there was more things that I thought about, and I was like, wow, I didn't pick up on that. Oh, wow, no, that was great. And I, in discussing it with other people. For example, I spoke with Lolo yesterday about Mother, before we went on air. And her husband brought up a point to me, and I was like, wow, no, wait, I didn't think about that. That's awesome. And it really changed my whole outlook on certain parts of the movie. And that's what I like. I like to have my view challenged and to see if I'm really sticking by that. And why that's why I love debate, film debate, because first of all, I like to argue and I like to talk, obviously, as you guys can see. But more than anything, I like to prove my mettle against others who are bringing, factual points to the table. I love waiting a couple days, but sometimes
Do you have, for example, let's say you have 5 reviews in the draft section. Would you add bits to each one as and when, or do you prefer to complete one first and then move on? Or
no, yeah, I'm a one task at a time person. I like to complete something wholly before I move on to the next thing. I feel like my opinions and my brain will get too muddled if I try to bits here, bits there. I focus, I write one down, and then I go to the next one.
It's an interesting point. I mean, I do it like Simon pretty much straight away if I can, usually. But I might try that, because sometimes, like you say, sometimes there's bits of films that come back to you days or even weeks later sometimes. It's a good point.
Yeah, see, I when I'm going through my process, it's really important for me to make sure that I believe what I'm saying. Because like I pointed out yesterday, I want to always make sure that we're true to our audience and that we are doing everything we can for them.
Yeah.
We should never be, saying things that we don't agree with. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I know that it's like some films that I've reviewed. In fact, Will, if you remember the other day, you tagged me into another film reviewer who didn't quite like the hippopotamus.
Yeah.
And I did, and it's like you were saying before about discussion and debate. I'm fine with that. I love that 2 people can watch the same thing and have completely opposing views. I found that really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's really, really cool as well. I'm very interested to see how that goes. Going forward, as we pick up steam as a site, we're probably going to get more people disagreeing with our opinions, and I really think it's going to get just more fun. I really think that is going to get more fun as we go. So our last section, our last piece of discussion that we're going to go into right now, and I hope you guys have been paying attention. And I'm not talking about our audience. I'm talking about our 2 lovely gentlemen on the horn here. I hope you guys were paying attention, because we're going to talk about way too early Oscar talk It is September, and we're talking about the Oscars.
Okay.
Be afraid, everyone. Be very afraid. And I will start by mentioning the film that Lee mentioned to me, and I had it on my radar for a while, and it's called Call Me By My Name. It looks spectacular, and to all of our audience who listens to us and reads us, we will have a review up probably early October. It is screening at the San Diego Film Festival, where we will be. So let's.
I can't attend because I'm in.
Of course, yeah, of course. I don't expect you to be there. I got this, guys. I got this. But no, you said you saw the trailer yesterday. Is that correctly?
Yeah. I'm really jealous as well because I really want to see this.
Now,
I know it's released November, I believe, by Saudi Pictures. But yeah, just watching the trailer, it's one of those films that really, those summer, when you're young and you have those summer months and you might meet someone on holiday, or it reminded me of a film I watched quite some time ago called A Summer of Love, which was an English film, which again was about two women falling in love during this kind of, this summer romance. This is very similar. I must admit, I've not seen any of Luca Guadagnino's other films, but just from watching the trailer, it looks really interesting and really. I love how the sun-drenched Italian house they're staying at just looks like it's just beautiful scenery, just for a film. And I don't know, it seemed like a quite good. I would assume it looked like a coming-of-age drama. I would say about two people who basically bond over their heritage, their landscape, and I really want to see it.
Okay. No, that's some good insight. Simon, have you seen the trailer or any information about Call Me By Your Name?
No, not yet, but I'll probably check it out soon.
Cool. So I'm going to give the audience a little bit of background here. It's directed by Luca Guadagnino, who did I've seen both of his actual movies before this. Last year's film, A Bigger Splash, and I Am Love, which is also really good. Armie Hammer, and I believe his name is Timothy Chalamet, play two men who, in the summer of 1983 in northern Italy, become friends. They start, to grow closer. And I would liken this almost to a coming-of-age version, slightly different, to the French film Blue is the Warmest Color.
Oh.
Insofar that we have a LGBTQ relationship. It's just this is the opposite side. It's two gay men instead of two gay women. That I think is going to chronicle one of the members of that relationship going through a change in their life and coming to realizations about themselves, both personally and sexually. That is going to be, I think, both inspiring and absolutely soul-crushing, and I cannot wait to see this film. I'm looking very forward to it. The official release date here in the United States is November 24th. So it's a good Halloween. It's a good Thanksgiving flick to take the whole family to see. What'd you take Grandma to see? Call Me By Your Name. Is that the one about the gay boys? Yes. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Come on, Mom. Come on, Dad.
Oh, Graham really liked that one. Lots of nude guys in it. Graham likes the nude guys. I know, but in taking the film seriously, it does look like an incredible piece of cinema, and I cannot wait. One of the other films, what was that? You want to say something there, Lee?
Yeah, that's quickly. Have you seen My Summer of Love?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think as soon as I saw the trailer for that, it straight away took me back to My Summer of Love, and that's what I recommend that while I'm here. It's a brilliant film.
Now I have two other movies on the docket, but I'm also going to I'm going to pick out. I'm going to pick on Simon to pick me out a couple movies he's heard Oscar buzz about here in a minute. So have yourself ready, young man. The second film that I wanted to talk about is Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. This thing is directed by Martin McDonagh, and it's getting all kinds of awards praise, from every festival it's playing at. It's got an all-star cast. What are you thinking about this film, gentlemen? Have you guys heard anything about this? We'll start with you, Lee.
No, I haven't. Not really.
Okay.
I know the director.
Good.
Obviously, did the In Bruges.
Right. That's true. No, that's true. Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of In Bruges. I know that we don't agree on that, but so yeah, unfortunately, I can't really offer much in this one.
Okay, so before Simon checks in, everyone can send all of their hate mail because he doesn't like In Bruges. You can hit up Lee on Twitter. It's at @LRothery_trader. Please send him all of your hate mail. Moving on, Simon, have you heard anything about this film?
Yeah, or no, what film was it?
It's 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
I feel like I've heard something about it, but I don't really know.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fill the audience in on both what the movie's about, who's in it, and why it's getting this buzz then, a little bit, so they can get a little bit more background. This one is directed, of course, by Martin McDonagh, known for In Bruges and Seven Psychopaths. It takes place after a couple months, a woman's daughter's murder case has gone almost cold, so she starts to paint messages on 3 billboards. The woman's played by Academy Award winner Frances McDormand, who's just an amazing actress. The sheriff who is ignoring Frances McDormand is played by Woody Harrelson, and his second in command is played by Sam Rockwell. So we have an absolutely stellar cast in this film about something I think is going to be a very heavy piece. I think it's going to be very much more of a heady piece compared to his other stuff, which is a little bit more of a black comedy. I don't think this one's going to be that funny. I do expect it to be very good, though. So with that said, having heard a little bit about this backstory, yes or no? Just a quick yes or no. You guys interested?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's what I figured. The last movie I wanted to talk about that I know is getting a lot of buzz, and because I think this is probably going to be my favorite movie of the year when it comes out, just because it looks so damn good, is The Shape of Water.
Oh yeah.
Guillermo del Toro.
Good.
Yeah. So if you could, Simon, because you say it looks good. Obviously you've seen the trailer. What about it are you liking?
I like how it looks, like, the cinematography and, like, the color palette looks very good. And the story, like, is interesting. I haven't seen the second trailer, but I have seen the first one. And what I've seen from the first one, it did intrigue me, and it did make me want to go see the movie when it comes out. Right.
I totally get you on that one. Now, Lee, you've just heard about this movie yesterday. What do you think?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm a massive Guillermo del Toro fan, and I didn't know until yesterday he did this film, which is quite embarrassing to admit on a film podcast. But yeah, I saw the trailer, and like Simon was saying there, the colour palettes and the sort of atmospheric. It's got a very sort of a dark atmosphere to the film, and anything with Sally Hawkins in is going to be good. And Guillermo del Toro, it looks really good actually. And Michael Shannon. Again, another underrated actor, I think.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and I don't know, it kind of... I was thinking when I watched the trailer, it kind of brought back a little bit of a feel of sort of Devil's Backbone a little bit. That sort of eerie, creepy kind of feel. Obviously, you can only get so much from the trailer, but yeah, I'm genuinely excited for this one, I think.
Yeah, I guess I agree with you on Sally Hawkins. She's always amazing, whether it's something as simple as Paddington or something a little bit more, heavy with material. Now, I do want to point out that in both, there is one actor who is in both this film and in 3 Billboards, and it's Michael Stuhlbarg, who over the years has been doing some great work as a character actor. He's absolutely incredible. And I think he deserves more praise. You mentioned the cinematography, Simon, and cinematographer Dan Lauston is the guy behind this film. All of his films are fairly beautiful. He's responsible for John Wick 2, Crimson Peak. He's responsible for the 2012 version of The Possession, which is not the same movie at all. But he also did Silent Hill, which is not a great movie, but even Roger Ebert said that it's one of the best looking films that came out in 2006. So Dan Louston is a great cinematographer, and I agree with you completely when you say that that film looks amazing. I also agree with you, Lee, that it has this great dark atmosphere that is, I think, prevalent in most of Guillermo del Toro, especially Crimson Peak, where it has this sort of blue over the whole thing, right? I want to fill the audience in a little bit on what the film is. Essentially, the government has found this waterman, this weird creature from the Black Lagoon looking creature. Sally Hawkins plays, I guess, a sort of a janitor of sorts, but she's mute. So she's playing a role where she has no lines. That I think is going to help her Oscar chances, and I think that this film in general is going to have a lot of Oscar buzz, and I think Michael Shannon has 2 shots at an Oscar this year for this and for the current war, if it's as good as people want it to be. Have you guys heard about the current war while I'm on that subject?
I haven't, no.
Oh.
No, I haven't either.
Oh, let me tell you. Basically, Benedict Cumberbatch plays Thomas Edison, and he of course is a guy known for inventing the light bulb and his use of electricity to power homes. Correct? Yes. We all kind of know who Edison is. Michael Shannon plays George Westinghouse, who controlled most of the East Coast because Thomas Edison is on the West Coast. It's about the two of them fighting over the currents necessary to run electricity through cities. It gets so in depth that they even have Nicholas Hoult playing Nikola Tesla. I am on board for this movie 100%. But again, Michael Shannon's got 2 shots at an Oscar. But The Shape of Water has another guy who I think is very underrated, and it's character actor Richard Jenkins. Are you guys familiar with Richard Jenkins?
No.
Yes, I am.
Okay, he's the dad from Step Brothers, Simon.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, he's the dad from Step
I
Brothers.
know who you're talking about.
Yeah. I think he's been permanently balding since 1974. I think.
He's the guy, isn't he? Will he's the guy from The Visitor?
Yes, he got nominated for an Oscar for The Visitor. It's the only time he's been nominated for an Oscar, which is a crying shame.
Yeah.
The Visitor is for the audience.
What? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I've not seen him in that many films. But what I've seen of him, he was really good. I think he was in. Didn't he play the girl's father in Let Me In? In the remake.
In the remake, no, I don't think so. You might be right. You may be right on that. But he's actually been in a lot of movies that people don't realize that he's in. For example, he was in going back to Frances McDormand. He was in the movie Burn After Reading. He played the manager of the gym that Brad Pitt and Frances McDormand worked at. He was in A Cabin in the Woods. But he's been in a lot of movies, and he doesn't get the respect he deserves as an actor. And I just wanted to give him a spotlight here while we're here. Now, we talked about a couple movies that I wanted to talk about. Simon, what have you heard on the Oscar front, for whether it's a forerunning or for actor, forerunner for actress, forerunner for Best Picture? What do you got for me?
I was just looking it up, and a couple Oscar movies, or at least ones that may be nominated. I saw that Logan, that Wolverine one that came out earlier this year.
Yeah.
That might be nominated. I mean, I wouldn't give it a Best Picture nomination. I'd say Best Acting from Hugh Jackson. He's pretty good in it. Yes.
What about cinematography? I think.
I really can't remember it that much, even though I've watched it 15 times. But I think I remember the cinematography was pretty good. Yeah,
I would agree with the cinematography nomination, definitely. I think Hugh Jackman is good. I don't think he's good enough for Best Picture. I think it's going to be kind of crowded. But I think that was a good pull, man. What else you got?
I saw The Big Sick, which I really enjoyed.
Oh, I just rewatched it. It's so good.
Yeah, I think it was it may be nominated for Best Picture as well as Logan.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would say it'd be Best Picture.
I think a Best Picture nomination is not out of the question. I also don't think that a Best Actor nomination for Kumail Nanjiani is out of the question either, because he's so damn good in that movie. He's so charming. Yeah. He's so charming he's kind of a jerk, but he's charming anyways.
Yeah.
Which is kind of just him in a nutshell. Wind River. That's another one I would definitely think might get some nominations. Dunkirk, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't seen it yet, to be honest.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't seen it either.
It's one of those films that I'm kind of saving for special occasion. I don't know what. But
Why are you saving it?
I don't know. I do that with like films I'm really excited about. I don't know. I kind of put them off, and then
I hear you.
One day where I'll watch 2 or 3 of them.
I hear you. So I'm also gonna bring up the Florida Project as another potential Best Picture nominee. That one has a really good shot. I think that I'm hearing a lot about that. The Killing of the Sacred Deer, which just got its release date pushed up to October 20th, right in time for Halloween. The Disaster Artist. I'm just going to talk about the Disaster Artist for a second. You know about this one, right, Simon?
Yeah, it doesn't look that great, to be honest.
First of all, how dare you? Second of all, The Disaster Artist is a retelling of James Franco plays. Okay, so James Franco he plays Tommy Wiseau, writer and director of probably the worst movie ever made, The Room, right?
Yeah.
This chronicles the development of this film and its ascension as a necessary cult film of our time. Have you guys seen The Room?
No.
No, I'd like to.
What are you guys doing with your life? I expect this to be done.
Did you say before it's not very good?
Here's the thing. It's so not very good that it's amazing.
I was going to say, because I've read some very good reviews on that film.
Here's the thing. It goes so far out into the level of terrible that it's so fascinatingly good.
Okay.
It's one of those movies that has that strange dichotomy of being so bad that it's good. Okay? You guys should check that out immediately. I would recommend that you do that. This basically is a film that chronicles its, rise and fall and all that good stuff. And I think James Franco's got a hell of a shot at Best Actor, and I think this film has a hell of a shot at Best Picture. But we'll see. With that, we've almost gone on 60 minutes. I think now's the perfect time to kind of put the bow on it. So Lee, why don't you give us an outro, tell people where they can follow you and yell at you for your opinions on In Bruges?
Well, any queries regarding In Bruges, you have to see my secretary. You can follow me on Twitter. It's L Rothery, which is all one word, which is LROTHERY _trader, TRADER. Other than that, I've recently got more time on my hands, so I'll be reviewing much more films up to FilmSnobReviews.com. My next 2 films I'll be reviewing are going to be Dig 2 Graves and The Transfiguration, so look out for those very soon.
Looking very forward to those, Lee. Simon, you awake over there?
Yeah.
Where can people find you if they want to give you crap about your opinions or lack of opinions or other things like that?
Yeah, so you can find me at my Instagram, which is Because Movies, all just one long line. And you can find me on my Twitter, which is Salty Simon 2002, but I'm not on there a lot.
I like that name, though.
Thank you.
Love that Twitter handle.
I don't want to ask about salty.
He's a salty young man. Let's leave it at that. Now, and of course, you guys can all find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere at Film Snob Reviews. Now, we do have a Patreon page, and I would recommend that all of you listening donate to the Patreon so that we can make this podcast better, bigger, and everything. And maybe I can start paying these guys. That'd be awesome, right?
Join up now, everyone. Join up now.
Join up now. So I need. I'd love for all of you guys to do that. We've got 4 tiers. If you sign up for the $10 tier, I will literally watch whatever movie you want me to, and I will review it. At $10, at $20, you get invited onto the podcast, and you get to talk to all of the crazy people that work here with us on Film Snob Reviews. With that being said, thank you guys so much for joining us for the first time ever. We hope you'll see us next month. We're going to have a special guest on next month, and they don't know who it is yet, but I haven't told even anyone else who the special guest is yet, but I look forward to having them on. I'm going to say them so it doesn't give away who the guest is. In the meantime, thanks so much for joining us, and keep it snobby, guys. All right. Bye.